Revolving light urgent breaking alert for IQD and VND holders. Revolving light. Welcome back to Dinar Current, your trusted corner in the world of global currencies. Today, we may be standing just hours away from one of the most dramatic events in modern foreign exchange history, a potential revaluation of the Iraqi dinar IQD and Vietnamese dong VND. Yes, you heard that correctly. Fresh insider leaks, late-night meetings at central banks, strange market behavior, and even a mysteriously pulled press release are all pointing in one direction: something big is moving behind the scenes. Over the next several minutes, I'm going to walk you through everything we know, every clue that has surfaced, and what this could mean for ordinary investors like you. Stick with me, because this update may just change how you view the next 24 to 48 hours. Magnifying glass: the first signs. Marathon meetings in Baghdad and Hanoi. The first clue came when multiple reliable sources reported that central bank officials in Iraq and Vietnam have been holding intense late-night meetings for more than a week straight. These aren't normal policy discussions. They're not routine updates on interest rates or standard economic planning. No, according to leaks, the topic dominating those closed-door meetings is nothing less than adjustments to the official exchange rates of both the dinar and the dong. And here's what makes this truly jaw-dropping: the timeline being floated is within hours, not months. That's right. Some insiders are saying the switch could happen inside a 24 to 48 hour window. Think about that. Currencies usually take months of signaling, technical preparation, and careful rollout before a shift. But this time, everything is being compressed into a rapid countdown. Globe IMF and BIS at the table, why that matters. Now, let's be clear. When we hear about meetings between Iraq's central bank or Vietnam's monetary authorities, that's significant on its own. But this situation has an even bigger twist. Confirmed in those rooms, whether in person or via secure video links, were representatives of the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and the Bank for International Settlements (BIS). Why does that matter? Because the IMF is the referee of global monetary stability. They don't show up unless an event has worldwide impact. The BIS is known as the Bank of Central Banks. Their involvement signals technical coordination at the highest possible level. Put simply, you don't bring in the IMF and BIS for routine currency maintenance. You call them in when you're about to realign a currency to global markets, manage volatility, and prevent financial shocks. That means this is likely not a local experiment. It's part of a coordinated international strategy. Scroll the vanishing press release. Here's where things get even more dramatic. Late last night, an official press release briefly appeared on a central bank website. The statement used unusually strong language. It announced the finalization of currency reform procedures. That phrase is almost never used unless something major is imminent. Within less than an hour, the statement vanished. Taken down. Scrubbed. But by then, screenshots had already spread among analysts and traders. So what happened? Was it posted too early? Was it a mistake? Or was it a signal to insiders, a deliberate way of saying, get ready? The fact that it was pulled so quickly only fuels suspicion. And it coincided perfectly with odd behavior across regional financial markets. Upward trend: strange market behavior, spikes, pauses and liquidity surges. Over the last 48 hours, liquidity flows in Asian foreign exchange markets have shown unusual patterns. Sudden spikes in demand for certain currency pairs. Odd spreads that suggest big players are quietly positioning themselves. Private exchange houses in the Gulf reporting sudden surges in orders for dinar. Multiple private platforms temporarily pausing transactions, citing system updates. Let's pause here. Platforms don't all go offline for updates at the same time by coincidence. The last time we saw similar activity was in 2015 during a major realignment, and back then, rates shifted literally overnight. This tells us two things. 1. Institutions are bracing for a rate change. 2. Coordination may already be happening behind closed doors with governments and banks. Big money doesn't move on rumors. They move when they've had quiet phone calls, intelligence briefings, or inside knowledge of what's coming. Whale-tiered rollout. Whales first, public later. Another strong theory among analysts: if the revaluation happens, it may not be all at once. Instead, it could be a tiered rollout. Here's what that might look like. 1. Phase 1. large institutions, sovereign wealth funds, and high net worth individuals, the whales, get access first. They may have a 24 to 48-hour window to exchange at premium contract rates. 2. Phase 2. The wider public gains access, but at slightly lower rates designed to stabilize the market. Why structure it this way? To prevent sudden liquidity shocks, avoid system overloads, and give central banks more control. For ordinary holders, that means being prepared is everything. If you hesitate or miss the early window, you might have to settle for less favorable rates. High voltage. Why this matters, the global impact. Let's step back and look at the bigger picture. If the Iraqi dinar strengthens significantly, Baghdad gains major leverage in global oil markets. Iraq could reduce dependence on the US dollar for oil sales. A stronger dinar would attract foreign investment and fund infrastructure growth. If the Vietnamese dong revalues upward, Vietnam could boost domestic purchasing power. Foreign investors would view it as a maturing economic powerhouse. It could challenge China as the preferred hub for global manufacturing. This is not just about exchange rates. It's about economic power, national sovereignty, and global competition. Money bag ripple effects across assets. The impact wouldn't stop at Iraq and Vietnam. A sudden revaluation of two major currencies would send shockwaves across global finance. Gold and silver, precious metals, almost always surge during currency resets. Investors hedge by piling into hard assets. US dollar could face downward pressure as reliance decreases, or short-term strengthening as traders rush into safe havens. Cryptocurrency. New wealth from revaluation may flood into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other digital assets as investors seek diversification. Global bonds and stocks. Central banks may rebalance reserves, shifting capital flows across markets. In other words, this wouldn't just be a currency story. It would be a global financial event. Newspaper media silence, coincidence or coordination. One of the strangest elements so far is how quiet mainstream media has been. Despite clear market signals, there has been almost no coverage from global news outlets. This silence could mean one of two things. 1. Reporters simply don't yet have confirmation. 2. Governments have quietly asked media to hold back coverage until the timing is right. We've seen this playbook before. In 2009, major currency interventions unfolded quietly while the press stayed silent, only reporting days later, after insiders had already positioned themselves. Bookmark tabs. What investors should do right now. If you're holding IQD or VND, here are practical steps. 1. Stay calm. Don't make emotional decisions based on rumors. 2. Prepare documents. Make sure IDs, currency receipts, and bank details are in order. 3. Choose your exchange path. Know which banks or centers you'll use. 4. Decide your goals. Will you pay off debt, reinvest, or hold cash? 5. Consult an advisor. Not all brokers understand FX revaluations, find one who does. Remember, timing will matter more than ever. Globe. The symbolism of revaluation. If this event goes forward, the symbolism will be massive. For Iraq, it would prove that the nation has stabilized, rebuilt, and re-entered global markets as a serious economic player. For Vietnam, it would be recognition of decades of growth and careful management, marking its rise as a true global power. Both currencies moving together could even be the opening move in a larger, coordinated monetary reset. Hourglass. Final countdown, closer than ever. Here's the bottom line. We've seen rumors before, many false alarms. But this time, the signs are different, stronger, clearer, harder to dismiss. Central banks are meeting non-stop. The IMF and BIS are actively involved. A press release slipped out and was deleted. Platforms are pausing transactions. Markets are behaving abnormally. Add it all up, and the evidence suggests we are closer than we've ever been. Whether the move happens in hours or gets delayed slightly, the direction is undeniable. This could be the most important 24 to 48 hours in recent currency history. So what do you think? Is this finally the real deal, the moment IQD and VND holders have been waiting for? Or is this just another wave of hype before the official switch flips? Drop your thoughts below. I read every comment. If you value clear, no-nonsense updates that cut through the noise, hit the like button, share this with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss the next breaking alert. Because trust me, the story isn't just developing. The story is exploding. Stay prepared, stay calm, and stay tuned. This is Dinar Current, and the next 24 hours could change everything.